First of all, I would like to take this opportunity to welcome you all to this 2021 Sustainable Finance Initiative Catalyst Awards ceremony. Indeed, for us, this has become a hallmark event at in our KBS calendar, since it accords us this unique opportunity to honor the banks that have certainly put the economy, society, and the environment at the center of the operations. Our journey, if I could just recall a little bit and recap, our journey to these awards began in 2015 when the member bank CEOs of the KBA collectively made a commitment to adopt the Sustainable Finance Initiative guiding principles in their day-to-day operations and lending decisions. This commitment reinforced the industry's stance on the need to look beyond the financial gains by considering the environmental and socioeconomic responsibilities. This forward-looking orientation in many ways has enhanced not only innovation, but competitiveness, and empowered banks to manage and mitigate the associated risks that would otherwise affect their credit portfolios. This year, KBA is proud to host its 4th Catalyst Award and is honored to have received 43 entries from progressive institutions that are seeking to display their leadership in integrating sustainability practices in their lending and business operations. Lastly, I want to thank all the applicants who took their time to submit entries in this year's awards. Allow me to reiterate that the SFI awards signify that you are putting measures and identifying clear performance indicators that will encourage banks and the wider financial services sector players to embed sustainable finance practices in their business models. Thank you very much.
It gives me a pleasure again to stand here today and make these remarks on behalf of the International Union for Conservation of Nature, IUCN, particularly the regional office for East and Southern Africa and the Kenya country office. We are honored to be part of this year's Sustainable Finance Initiative Catalyst Award ceremony. IUCN believe that nature is a cornerstone to making investment and people resilient, but also it's a cornerstone to sustaining us for the life we live. In Kenya and in Africa, our work as IUCN aims at improving the resilience of people and investment through sustainable biodiversity and natural resource management in partnership with government, private sector, research institution, but also non-state actors. In this regard, we extend our heartfelt congratulations to Kenya Bankers Association on the just concluded 11th Annual Banking Research Conference, which was very inspiring when you look at the papers published, but also the content and discussions that was happening in the room. Platforms such as this award ceremony are essential, not only for providing an opportunity to inspire and learn, but also it helps to acknowledge those who are doing a great job in the industry. And we do want to appreciate this opportunity to partner with you.
One of the things that we're doing in this new area of green finance is supporting both the financial sector regulators and the Kenya Bankers Association on looking at how do we mitigate climate risks in Kenya, which is that one analysis has looked at the impact of climate change on Africa and suggests that if we don't respond, it could have at least a 3% decrease in our GDP per capita. That's not good for business, it's not good for banking, it's not good for any of us. And so how can we seize this opportunity so that we don't have that negative impact? And frankly, if we can build greener and digital and inclusive societies, have an uplift in GDP rather than a downfall. And we need to understand how can all of this conversation around green focus on adaptation and not just mitigation. Because in Kenya, adaptation is our bigger problem. It is the bigger funding gap than mitigation. So normally awards shows happen at night. I think I've even been in an award show in this hotel with sparkling glitter and whatever. But I love the fact that this award show is in the morning, because it's saying it's not the end of the day. Sustainable finance is at a new dawn. And so the award winners today are beginning a journey, and I hope that we can all take that journey together as we seize the opportunity of green finance in Kenya. Thank you.
It is really a pleasure to join you here today on this Sustainable Finance Initiative Catalyst Awards. It's very interesting to see that the Kenya Bankers Association is organizing itself to give awards for this initiative to drive sustainable financing. As you've heard, the awards program seeks to celebrate banks that have demonstrated their leadership in embedding the sustainability agenda in their cooperation and lending activities, especially in their strategies and the operational programs. It's encouraging to see as well that this platform of recognition gives us an opportunity to carefully contemplate on the strides made by financing institutions in orienting and reorienting their business models to encompass sustainable development. As I conclude, I'd like to applaud Upperhill and KBA for actively building meaningful progress in the banking industry by encouraging financiers to integrate in the decision-making process a forward-looking orientation while financing commercial activities. As we celebrate banks today that have embodied the SFI guiding principles, I encourage you to learn about how you, in your sphere of influence, can also do your part and expand your knowledge of how to create value for the economy, society, and especially for the environment. So we invite the entire sector comprising of banks, and not just banks, capital markets, insurance companies, pension funds, SACCOs, to join these efforts towards upholding these 10 principles that we work with and accelerate progress of the SDGs, the Sustainable Development Goals, in this decade of action. We only have a few years to make some of these changes, otherwise they'll be irredeemable. For companies not part of our movement, we would like to call on you to join the initiative, as we need to collectively raise our ambition to progress the benefit of our economy to help us attain our full potential. Thank you very much.
Just some background on how we came about to put in place the Catalyst Award. First of all, in 2015, we did have the CEOs of the member banks at a round table agreeing that we need to have a level playing field. And that's why we came up with the guiding principles that were put in place in 2015, essential to align the practice in the banks to ensure that we are aligned to sustainability. And so the guiding principles were put in place and then embraced by the whole banking industry. And so in order to ensure that banks are implementing the guiding principles, we did put in place a support mechanism, which was the e-learning platform. And that is a capacity building framework where banks access for building their capacity in terms of implementing the guiding principles. Now the next stage was to ensure that we create an environment where banks can be able to showcase their implementation of those guiding principles. So we came up with the Catalyst Award, SFI Catalyst Award, which recognizes banks that have put in effort to put in place frameworks to ensure that we are working on the sustainability journey. So the Catalyst Awards, this year was the 4th year that we put them in place. The good thing about it is that the banks that participate get fairly detailed feedback on areas that they need to work on, areas that they have done well, and that encourages them for the next year's award. And you have seen improvement. Each year, when a bank works on the feedback they receive, they then put in a much better submission in the next year. And no wonder now the competition has become fairly stiff, so that the winners are actually entities that have put in quite a bit of effort, and you can see they are really improved in terms of their practices, both from a lending perspective and operating perspective.
Moving forward, what are your expectations, especially with these awards and their significance in the banking industry?
I think the critical thing is the fact that we are all trying to move towards the net zero framework, where effectively banks are conscious of their emissions into the environment, and not only reducing their own emissions, but also trying to ensure that they are financing entities that are conscious of reducing their emissions into the environment. And so that will be our specific contribution to align the banks to contribute towards the net zero eventuality, which therefore means that either through your own emissions you reduce them, or you ensure that you only finance entities that are putting mechanisms to ensure that you're working on the journey towards a net zero environment.
Thank you so much, Abil.
Thank you. Thank you.
Congratulations.
My destiny, I have waited patiently. I have vision, though I believe. I know I can count on me. So stand up for the champions, for the champions. Stand up, stand up, stand up for the champions, for the champions. Stand up for the champions.
Thank you. Great. Don't move yet. The confetti was clouding the photo op moments. I think it banks. Congratulations. And our first place goes to KWFT Bank. Congratulations. Great. Our second place for most innovative bank goes to Standard Chartered Bank. Most innovative bank, Cooperative Bank of Kenya.